Are you always coming up with ideas? Do you marvel at successful business owners? Do you hate being told what to do? Ever take things apart just to see how they work? Are you a dreamer? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Pro Tapes and Specialties is the world leader in tape manufacturing and specialty conversion with over 40 years of experience. In addition to our pro brand of high-quality specialty adhesive tapes, we provide contract converting services that help improve your profitability, streamline your supply chain, and reduce inventory cost. We offer the most complete range of converting capabilities in the industry, such as cloth tape, double-coated tape, specialty tape, paper tape, masking tape, vinyl tape,
carton sealing tape, adhesive transfer tape, duct tape, foam tape, electrical tape, filament tape, foil tape, reflective tape.
And the tape just keeps on rolling. Visit us online today at www.protapes.com or call us at 800-345-0234. Pro Tapes, it's just how we roll.
Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Entrepreneurial Enclave, Life's Coming Attraction. I am your host, Kevin Wortham, and today I always continue to be excited about speaking with our next guest, Camille White Jackson. What's going on, girlfriend? How are you?
Hey, I am well. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. So prior to us talking about starting the taping, we were going back and forth about how best to do it, and you weren't practiced, and you needed to be rehearsed. And I'm saying to you, sometimes the best time, matter of fact, all the time for something like this is to be natural, to be organic, and let's just flow. So we're going to flow. So how have you been? What have you been up to? And I think the last time that I might have seen you might have been, 25, 35 years ago?
Yeah. Oh, maybe more.
Oh, it can't be more than that, because then we're dating ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to say about 35 years ago that I've seen you, because I came out of Pitt in 87. So math, so I was about 35 years, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. But we do keep in touch periodically through modern technology, Facebook. I would see you occasionally on Facebook. So since that time, have you been back to Pitt? What's going on?
So much. Let's see. As a matter of fact, yes, I did go back to Pitt.
Okay.
I did not graduate.
Okay.
I didn't graduate the first, our first years. I kind of left and life happened.
Yes.
I had children, got married, everything. And then I decided I want to go back to school.
Okay.
So I went back to Pitt, finished up my degree, and I began working there. And ironically, I went back to student affairs, and I ended up being the Black Action Society advisor.
What?
Yeah.
What does that entail? Being the Black Student Action Advisor. What does that entail?
Well, in my student days, I was BAS president. I ultimately became BAS president.
Wow.
And wow. Okay.
Take a breath.
The story goes, you start out, what do you start out doing? You start out just getting involved.
Yes.
Now I'm going back to student days.
Yes.
You start out just being involved on campus. Then you join a committee. Then you become program chairperson.
Yes.
I think that was a really big responsibility for me, responsible for planning a lot of the events. fashion shows, speakers, protests, you name it, we did it. So after that, I became BAS president by default.
What nobody else wanted it?
No, the president at the time, I think he could no longer do the service.
Okay.
I was vice president, and then I became president.
Wow. Let me stop you and let me back up for a second and ask a few questions. Can you recall what was your budget during those years when you guys did a lot of those activities?
Yeah, I can recall the budget.
What was the overall budget?
Back in the day, I would say it was about, it depended because we would go back to SGB and request more money, but I would say overall, the standard budget might have been $20,000 to $25,000.
Okay, so even when you guys brought in like Louis Farrakhan, all of that was still under the budget of $25,000?
No, sometimes we would request additional money, and we did get and request an additional amount for that. I think his remuneration was probably about $5,000 to $7,000.
Yes.
It wasn't a whole lot as we thought it might be, but that was a whole lot back then.
Because I remember Pitt had to spend almost an additional $10,000 for security, if not more, for him to come on campus. Yeah.
We did.
Do you remember that day quite clearly?
I remember that day quite clearly. It was November 14th.
Wow. Take me through that day, Camille. How do we get him on campus?
How did we get him on campus? All right. Well, I don't know who the program chairperson was. Maybe it was Diana White. I can't remember.
Okay.
But I do remember that the committee, the steering committee said, hey, we want to bring in Louis Farrakhan.
Yes.
And we took the steps to do it. We had to request the money from SGB. They approved it. And then we made the request to Farrakhan's people, hey, we want you to come. He said, okay, I'm coming. Then all heck broke loose. The community got wind, the Jewish community got wind that he was coming.
Yes.
The Muslim community also got wind that Farrakhan was coming.
Yes.
So everybody began to kind of get into motion. The Muslim community began educating us. They would come up to the DAS office with literature, tapes, just educating us on who Louis Farrakhan was.
Yes.
That was necessary.
Okay.
I realized later that we did need to know that.
Let me stop you for a second, Camille. What was going on at that time on campus for you guys to make that decision to bring him on campus, to bring him to Pitt? What was going on where you said we needed to bring him in?
I don't think there was anything in particular going on.
Okay.
I know that we were, a part of the Free South Africa movement.
Yes.
And that may have spurred an interest. But we have been wanting Louis Farrakhan to come for a number of years.
Okay.
And that year we made it happen.
Okay. I'm sorry. I had to interrupt because I wanted to recall that. Okay. So you're saying that his team comes onto campus and he's sharing with you literature as to who he was. And you said you needed to know that. Why did you need to know that?
Well, after the fact, I realized that we had to be educated about our decisions.
Yes.
Because there was backlash from the Jewish community.
Yes.
We were threatened. Threats were made to various steering committee members. I, in particular, was not threatened, but...
What were some of the threats, like don't go home, don't bring him here, we're watching you? What were some of the threats?
I would say pretty much that, telephone calls, don't bring them. And, the interesting thing was we were so concerned that after going through that no one would show up.
Yes.
But after the threats became more intense and the news media began publicizing that Farrakhan was coming,
yes,
and they reported about the threats that we were getting,
yes,
people started coming from everywhere, and the ticket sales were through the roof.
Wow. So you guys became more resolute in making sure this happened.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Because I remember attending that up not at Trees Hall. It wasn't Trees Hall, but it was where the basketball center was, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The field house.
The field house. Thank you. Yes. All right.
And
so,
I'm told that was the largest event, largest attended event outside of a graduation, largest speaker event in the history of the University of Pittsburgh.
Black or white?
Black or white to this day.
Wait, so to this date, man, I'm having trouble believing that. But back then, I'm saying I could foresee that. But wow, okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. And the reason, and if that's changed, when I went back 15 years later to become the advisor of BAS, that was true then.
Yes.
And it more than likely is true today, because I can't see another speaker, of that magnitude. I'm not saying concerts or anything. I'm talking about speaking.
Yeah. No.
Mm-hmm.
He still continues to be a lightning rod.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to think now, who would be a speaker of modern days, of our times now, that would electrify but also denigrate, the organization for bringing him there. I couldn't think of anyone.
Well, there could be a number of people like Barack Obama or someone of that magnitude.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, and I'm quite sure I'm going to be wrong when I say this. The man is nothing but positivity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be like Barack Obama, come on, get down with us. The only other person I think that would electrify and cause so much hesitation and frustration and this nervousness, God, her name is on the tip of my tongue, Candace Owens.
Oh.
Now, she may not have the crowd, but man, the hatred, that she would spark, oh my God, I think she would be like a close second, right?
Oh, MG.
Man.
You know what? I'm not sure, but I tell you this.
Yes.
It all boils down to budget, what you can afford and what your school is willing to pay for.
Gotcha.
But I think you're right. She would definitely have a similar type of response.
Oh, yeah. Oh, let me tell you something. She would probably be worse because she's younger and she's reaching out to her audience through social media, through her platform. And I can't think of, and I may be wrong, but thank God it's my show. I can be wrong. I can't think of a few black folks that support her.
Mm.
And the ones that do, I think we're loopy. No, I mean, listen, I think that, right? I'm entitled,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because amongst our crowd, I can't think of any black person that says Candace Owens has got it going on, and she certainly has a place at the table when we have Thanksgiving dinner. Man, somebody. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You know what's interesting?
Yes.
This week, someone told me that their daughter respected Candace Owens. I just left it right there. I didn't say anything.
I mean, here's the thing. We can compartmentalize anything that we want to. I respect her because she's going to have, excuse the pun. She's got to have the balls to be stupid and to do stuff like that. So I respect her for doing her own thing, regardless of who she offends, and she's entitled to that. So I respect that. But in terms of legitimacy, I think she is way off base, and she's certainly not connected to the base that we know.
Absolutely well said. And
right?
yeah, in my opinion about her, I respect her opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's it.
Now let me ask this question, because I've interviewed a lot of people from Pitt on my podcast, and one of the things that I've asked them was, if you had a chance to go to a historical black college, would you have gone? And most folks thus far said no, because they thought that we were it. We never felt like we were missing anything. How do you feel? What's your thoughts on that?
Interestingly, I agree with everybody that it did have that feeling.
Yes.
But I want to say that I want to experience it. I lived in North Carolina for about 12 years.
Yes.
And right in the almost Mecca of historical black universities.
Yes.
I went to events at A&T, NCCU, and just the camaraderie, just amazing, incredible. And I said to myself, I wonder what it would have been like to have attended. North Carolina is Charlotte is a city for the CIAA.
Yes.
And it's just so warm and welcoming. They'll, if you go to a football game, people have their little areas and their little camping. I don't know what you call it, but they just had their areas where they were cooking and this and that. And everyone's so welcoming. Come on over here. Come on. They'll have their music. Come dance with us. Mm-hmm. Just something that I just didn't experience. But I'll tell you one thing. When it all comes back and boils down to everything, Pitt felt like a historical black college because we were about 10% of the population. So that's about 3,000 to 4,000 black students. We were doing okay.
Yeah.
And I think I would definitely prefer just being where I already was.
And with you guys doing the fantastic job that you did, we never felt like we were anything but that. I mean, the closeness, the guest speakers that you've exposed us to, because I think while we were there, we had Bill Cosby, we had Jesse Jackson, we had Esther Roll, certainly Louis Farrakhan we just mentioned. And so we had all of these folks to come on to the campus to talk to us, right? So I never felt like we were missing anything, right?
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what no, go ahead. I'm sorry, Camille. Go ahead.
No, and I'm just saying everybody kind of knew everyone.
Yes.
And they were like family.
Yes. Now, when did the Black Student Union start at Pitt?
Oh, the Black Student Union started in the 70s.
Okay.
Or 1969 after the Computer Center takeover.
Okay. And why did it start? Because I don't know that story. Why did it start?
Well, in the 60s, 1969, like when the student demonstrations took place.
Yes.
Pitt was one of the schools that participated in the student demonstrations, and the Black students got together and took over the computer center.
Yes.
And they had a list of demands, and they said, hey, and one of the demands was, hey, we need a Black Action Society.
Yes.
And they got it.
Okay. Okay. So when you became the advisor, what were some of the list of demands, so to speak, that they had then versus, in 1969 when they were starting? What were some of the list of demands that they had?
Well, I can just tell you some of the demands because I can't really recall the history, but I do recall that in the 60s, one of the demands was more Black people on campus, more Black instructors or professors.
Yes.
And we still were asking for that in the 80s. So I think that's the best example.
Okay.
I think that we were still wanting more. Although we have had more than in the 60s, we still were wanting more. Although we had 10% of the population, student population, we still felt that more were needed. So,
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any controversy going on at that time that you had to advise the Black Student Union on at that time?
Yes. The student movement at that time was I can't remember it was the police brutality.
Okay. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And one of their speakers that came was, you know what? You're making me recall years and years. Who is this gentleman? Al Sharpton.
Oh, okay, okay. He came on the campus, huh?
Yes,
wow.
He came on.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Now, you know, I think recently Pittsburgh just elected its first African-American male mayor. I think in the 250 years or 300 years of Pittsburgh being Pittsburgh, this is the first African-American mayor, Black man, that they've had. So that's certainly a plus, right?
Very much so.
Now,
very, very much.
When we were talking, and you were saying that when you grew up in Pittsburgh, right?
Yes, I am from Pittsburgh.
Okay, how was the climate then versus now? Because you said you grew up in the upper hill, because I only knew of the lower and the middle hill.
Uh-huh.
And so how was that?
The climate in Pittsburgh then versus now? Is that your question?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Pittsburgh is a really unique place. I don't know if you noticed, but it is segregated. And I never experienced racism in my entire life until I left Pittsburgh. We're segregated because of the topography.
Yes.
Every ethnic group had their own territory.
Yes.
You had the Polish in Polish Hill.
Yes.
Your Italians were in Lawrenceville and Bloomfield. African American were on the Hill in East. You had different ethnic groups. We all had our own areas, and we even had our own shopping areas. Then, you know, the riots happened, and our area got torn down.
Yeah.
And so we had to venture out and go shopping other areas, but nonetheless, we stayed in our communities.
Yes.
We went to school in our communities. So I went to school from grade school until I went to the University of Pittsburgh with primarily all African American students.
And
so,
where was your school in the Hill District? Where was your high school?
I went to a school called Shenley High School.
Oh, yeah, I know Shenley. Get out of here. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So going to University of Pittsburgh was a little bit of a culture shock for me.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And so now you're back in Pittsburgh. Where are you staying now in Pittsburgh?
Well, I'm in East Liberty.
That's one of the places they tore up that you just talked about.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think we were talking earlier that it's gone through a great deal of gentrification, right?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow. That's
And
crazy.
I live in the gentrified part.
Yes.
And I believe that I'm gentrifying where I'm living right now.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
And that happened indeed. And my grandmother was an activist, a community activist.
Yes.
And she fought in the early 70s to against gentrification. She was talking about gentrification ever since I was a little kid.
Yes.
So it's manifested itself and it's here.
Wow. And so now, how often do you go back to Pitt now? Are you still active in life of the Black Student Union?
And regretfully, I have not been able to be active.
Okay.
Because I have a company.
Yes.
2 companies.
Oh.
And still growing.
Wait. So you are the entrepreneur extraordinaire. Let's hear about these companies. Which companies do you have now?
Well, I own an online medical coding course.
Yes.
Or school. It's called Absolute Medical Coding Institute.
Yes.
And we are one of the largest online medical coding institutes in the U.S., maybe globally.
Hold up. Camille White, who I went to school with, runs one of the largest medical coding companies in the country, if not the globe. Come on, talk to me. Slow down. What is medical coding, first of all?
Okay.
Well, first of all, congratulations. Now, what is it? What is it?
Well, medical coding, a lot of people confuse a medical biller with a medical coder.
Yes.
A medical coder is a person who takes the doctor's documentation,
yes,
and they interpret it and code it. So essentially, they'll take all of these diagnoses,
yes,
and assign codes,
yes,
and procedures.
Yes.
Assign codes to those as well.
Now, do the codes have to be standardized?
Yes.
Got you.
We use standardized codes. We use ICD-10-CM codes, PCS codes, and CPT codes. And this is mandated by HIPAA.
Yes.
So doctors have to do it.
Now, I'm always interested. How did you get involved in coding? And then what was the impetus for you to start your own school for teaching such?
Great question.
That was a great question. Okay, I got a few more after this one. Go ahead, Camille.
Well, I always had an entrepreneurial spirit.
Excellent.
I didn't know that I did, but I did, and yes. I do.
Yes.
So this is how I got started. I tried a few things when I was in North Carolina.
Yes.
I had a company here in Pittsburgh, but we're not going to talk about that. It was a good company, though.
Okay.
And I was running it while I was in North Carolina, and I said, hey, I got to do something in North Carolina. So I tried a few things, and it just didn't work. Then a friend of mine,
yes,
she lived very well, and she just had her head together. And I just said to her, I said, what do you do for a living? And she said, I'm a medical coder. I said, what is that? She basically told me what I told you.
Yeah. Wow.
And I said, I can do that because I used to work in insurance. So
yes.
Let me see it. And it wasn't my intent to start a school. Yes. Not at all. I just wanted to kind of do something to earn a living.
Yes.
And what I loved about it, she worked from home. She worked remotely, and
Yes.
that's why I was interested.
Wow.
So, she said, basically, this is what I do, and you need to find a school to help you become certified.
Yes.
So I went to the local community college, and they had a program,
Okay.
and I decided I was just going to take a few classes and maybe teach myself.
Yes.
So I went to the class, and the teacher, I was probably a few minutes late. I wasn't that late. And everyone was just looking bewildered, but working. And I'm looking around, and I said, wow. I said to the girl that sat next to me, I said, is she going to give us any instructions? She said, no. She just told us to code these. I said, okay. So, so then I asked the instructor, I said, are you going to teach us how to look up these codes, how to assign these codes? She said, just look them up. I thought she was kidding.
Yeah.
She was serious. So nonetheless, this took place for about 8 weeks. Then
Wow.
the 8th week class was almost over, and I said to her, is this exam hard, this certification exam? She said, I only know 2 people that passed it, myself and one other person. That's it.
Myself and one other person. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Wow.
So me, like a fool,
Uh-huh.
I go take the exam, and I fail.
Yes.
I was so hurt, Kevin.
Yes.
That's the first exam I failed in my adult life.
Yes.
Not in Pitt. I failed in Pitt.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness. So I realized that I was not shown the proper technique. So I had to show myself the technique.
Yes.
I went to work, and I took about 4 weeks, and I taught myself how to code. I taught myself techniques, how to get it done rapidly. And I went back, took the exam, and passed.
Awesome. Good for you, Camille. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Never give up.
thank you. Thank you. So I was quiet, and I just kind of went my own way. Then people started reaching out to me from my class. They said, Camille, can you help us? Yeah.
Because they too had failed, right?
Yeah. Everyone failed.
Gotcha.
So they reached out to me. I showed them my technique, and they started passing.
Wow.
And that's all she wrote.
Okay. So now you've got all of your classmates passing, and you said, I can do this. I'm going to start my own school. Wow.
And I started the school.
Yes.
And it was very difficult to get in because in the instructions, because it kind of was already, established that there were only going to be certain people that were going to be subject matter experts.
Yes.
There was no more room for anyone else.
Yes.
Especially someone that looked like me.
Oh, wait, time out. So the professor was not African American?
No, she was not African American.
Oh, got you. Now this is starting to make sense. All right. So we're going to limit the number of people that come through this program, through this class. Wow. And you said, I'm not going to have any of that. I am going to be the next one. Okay, I got you. Go ahead.
Right. And then now we're moving up to me establishing myself as an instructor.
Subject matter specialist, right?
Yes, subject matter expert.
Expert, not specialist. Okay, got you. Okay, yes.
Yes. So, doors were being closed.
Yes.
They would not allow me to, basically get my name out there because hey, we are the experts. You have to wait your turn.
Yes.
So I had the idea, I'm going to put my instructions on YouTube.
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
And I didn't just put anything on there. I put good stuff on there.
Yes.
It was so good that over 3,000 people passed the CPC certification exam. It's a very difficult exam. They passed. And that's how I established myself on a global scale.
Wow.
So from that 3,000 came more and more and more.
Camille, let me just share and say something about you. First of all, as you're telling this story, I can imagine, I can see you, right? I can see in my mind's eye, I can see you doing this, because what I do remember about you at Pitt, and please don't take this the wrong way, it's the deepest, greatest, sincerest compliment. You were eclectic, and you were certainly always doing your own thing. So for someone to say, no, you can't, and we're not going to open that door, there was no way I could even imagine Camille saying we're going to accept that. So thank you. Was that okay? You're going to do your own thing, right?
Yeah. I would say it's accurate, Kevin.
Yeah, because I mean, no, seriously, from your style of dress to how you positioned yourself, you did your own thing. F everybody else. That's all right.
Did.
That's the entrepreneurial spirit, girlfriend. That's all right. Yeah. Now, let me ask this question. So you got all these people passing the class, becoming certified through your YouTube presentation. Do you go back to the university, to the community college and say, listen, this is what I've been able to do? Do you ever do that, or you said, forget that?
Well, we've grown so large that I'm not really able to do that. From that YouTube course, I built a school. So the school is very, it's pretty large. We have about 500 students that come every year. And we still have our online or
Wait,
YouTube.
time out. You have a physical building that you built as a result of this?
It's like Blackboard.
No,
now,
I know
digital.
Blackboard. Yeah, I know with digital platform Blackboard. No, but that's still heavy. That's heavy duty. That's all right.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, Camille, I'm so excited for you. So let's do this one more time. What is the name of the company that you started? I want everybody to know this. Oh my God.
Thank you. It's Absolute Medical Coding Institute, or AMCI.
Yes.
And I have a name that I go by.
Yes.
And they call me Mrs. J.
Mrs. Day?
J-A-Y.
Mrs. J.
And
why is that?
Well, because there were so many people from other countries reaching out to me and, contacting me and looking for me. And I felt that it was probably best to have anonymity.
Yes.
It wasn't important who I was.
Yes.
It's not important what I look like.
Okay.
What's important is that I deliver the content and you pass that certification exam.
Awesome. You said a lot. You said a mouthful. Let's unpack that first of all. Was it important for you to be an African American woman starting a business? Was that important for you?
I would say I didn't see myself as an African American woman starting a business. I just saw myself as a person starting a business.
Okay. Now, I've got to ask the next question. Did you write a business plan, girlfriend?
I'm sorry?
Did you write a business plan before you started the business?
No.
Oh, no.
That was you know what?
Yes.
If anyone's listening to this, write a business plan first.
Oh.
Do the work. in order. Do it in order. We
Yes.
kind of grown. We grew exponentially.
Yes.
And, you know, it's great to have a lot of people demanding your product,
Yes.
but you've got to be able to facilitate the demand.
Yes.
So we had a lot of demand and we grew exponentially, and there wasn't enough funding. So I found myself trying to get funding after the fact.
Okay.
So had we done it the correct way, I would say after the 3-year period, I would have been able to, you know, people say after 5 years, your
Yes.
business does well. I think I would have been at that place at the 3-year period. However, we're 7 years in, and exactly at the 5-year period, we established ourselves. We were there.
Awesome.
We were.
Awesome. Well, Camille, listen, you know, trial and error, we get there, but I always tell my students, before you do anything, let's work on the business plan, and let's put the detail on paper, and let's tease that out there. But listen, if it works for you, it works for you. But I'm so glad you came back to tell us that you wish you would have did the business plan first. But thank you.
Absolutely. That was not, it was something that I didn't think was going to kind of happen that
Yes.
way. I didn't know. I got kind of carried so long,
Got you.
and
Got you.
it took me by surprise. But I have another business. It is a medical billing company.
Yeah, but hold on, I got a few more questions. So now that you've got the first business up and running, what would you say to other entrepreneurs? What advice beyond the business plan would you share with other entrepreneurs?
I would say be passionate about what you're doing.
Yes.
Don't look for a payment. Don't look for that. That's going to come.
Yes.
Your passion will drive you. And if you put God in it
Yes.
and you trust God,
Yes.
it's going to happen.
Yes.
So that's the advice.
Yes.
I think you need, if you have faith, you follow your faith and follow your passion.
Yes.
Passion will pay you. Don't worry about getting a check. Don't worry about paying yourself.
Yes.
Well, yeah, you got to eat,
Yeah,
but the business that you are nurturing, don't worry about it paying you. Don't go into it for a paycheck.
Yes.
If you put your passion in it, it's going to thrive.
Yes.
It's going to thrive.
Now, does the coding business, do you do job placement?
Well, that's what I was going to go into.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No. We have the billing company now, and the billing company enables our graduates, people that are certified and
Yes.
have graduated,
Yes.
to get either we place them in our company
Yes.
or they get experience. Once a medical coder has 2 years experience, they can pretty much write their ticket.
Okay. Wow. And so what's the name of your medical billing company?
Absolute Medical Billing Solution.
All right. Keeping it simple. Camille, I'm so excited for you. Oh my, I knew this. Listen, I knew this was going to be a great interview from our prep. I didn't know it was going to be this good. This is all right. This is all right.
You have to let me interview you, Kevin.
No. All you need to know about me is house music. That is it. No, it is my time to highlight the successful entrepreneurs. And what we do, we try to interview them from a local, regional, and national, and sometimes international aspect of their lives, no matter where they may be currently. But when you and I made the reconnection and you started sharing with me just a little snippet as to what you were doing, I said, yes, this is the one. And you have not let me down. So thank you. So looking at your crystal ball, what is next for Camille on the entrepreneurial front?
I think just maybe traveling.
Okay.
5 years, I would like to retire.
Okay.
And just travel and give back to the community.
Now, when you say retire, you're going to sell off the company, or you're going to bring in someone else to run the company for you? What do you think?
I think, well, it just depends.
Okay.
It looks like the team that I have will continue.
Yes.
It looks like that.
Okay.
And the company, a lot of the techniques that we have
Yes.
are pretty much ours. They're trademarked.
Yes.
We also have our own textbook, and I author that too.
Yes.
So it's kind of our stuff.
Okay.
So somebody else coming in may not be able to keep it going.
Okay.
So it has to be somebody in-house,
Okay.
who understands the methodology.
Okay. So that could be your transition, right?
Mm-hmm.
And had you done your business plan, you would have had your transition or succession plan, and you would have identified someone within your team to carry on so that you can do travel and you still can have residual income coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're thinking about that already. That's all right. Camille.
Yeah, we're thinking about it. AMCI did not have a business plan.
Yeah.
And
but we're going to work on
now.
Yeah, but we're going to work on a succession plan, because I want you to travel. I want you to be impactful, because listen, as whoever you are working with in terms of giving back, they are going to be so impacted by who you are. It's going to be like dynamite. That's all right. So I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm so. Yeah, you literally dance to your own beat. No matter how soft or loud the sound may be, you are dancing, girlfriend. And so I know if you got to traveling, you're going to really be impactful. So I'm waiting for that too. But go ahead. Oh my God, Camille, that's all right.
Aww.
So this is about a 5-year out plan. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else you want your listening audience to know about your days at Pitt, and also the entrepreneurial venture that you have undertaken thus far?
I would say my days at Pitt. Here, I have some regrets.
Okay.
I got a couple of regrets.
Okay.
Regret number one, I did not get everyone that I've encountered. I didn't get their autograph. I didn't get Dick Gregory's autograph. I didn't get whose autograph did I want?
But why is that such a major? Is that a major regret or just a regret?
It's a major regret.
Okay, why such a major regret?
Because I picked these people up from the airport.
Yes.
I've sat down and had dinner with them.
Yes.
Now I have a bookshelf with books that I could have from James Baldwin with his autograph in it.
Did you take pictures at that time?
I did not.
Oh my God. Okay. I understood.
Yeah.
Understood. But the
So that's a regret. But I love the opportunity. I've had phenomenal memories,
yes,
interesting stories and things to tell. But I always say, I wish I would have gotten a book,
yes,
with their autograph.
But you know what? We're on the podcast now. You want to share one of those wonderful memories with us now?
Ooh, which one?
Yeah, take your time, Camille. Share with us a wonderful memory, and then that way we can kind of encapsulate that, right? And we can kind of memorialize that for you.
Mm-hmm.
So at least,
Oh, yeah.
so at least,
So awesome.
so at least nothing else. We've got one story that's going to go
Let's
down
see.
in memory.
Okay, here's a story, and this is Louis Farrakhan.
Okay.
All right, that night after the lecture,
Yes.
we thought we were just going to roll on over to his hotel suite
Yes.
and really, interact with Louis Farrakhan.
Yes.
It really wasn't that easy. We did a lot of waiting. We had to move from one place to the next place. It was like some sort of security.
Okay.
And but the greatest memories that we got there, and we got to sit and talk to Louis Farrakhan.
Yes.
I saw him in a very different space.
Yes.
He didn't have on that suit. He had on sweatpants.
Okay.
He was a small man,
Okay.
and he was so kind.
Yes.
He was not that person that everyone said he was.
Got you.
He was kind. So that's a great memory.
Yes.
Also,
Now, where was he staying at that time?
he was at the Hilton
Downtown, right?
downtown.
Okay. So you guys had to travel downtown and
Mhm.
to wait for his team to allow you to come up to speak with him.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
And I think they made the provisions for his hotel. Typically we did,
Yes.
but they did because they wanted to make sure that it was secure.
Absolutely. I
Now,
can see that.
speaking of security, I want to say the fruits of the head of the fruits of Islam was Khalid Muhammad,
Okay.
and I don't know if you recall, but after he left with Farrakhan, he was did his own thing, and I believe he was on Phil Donahue.
Oh, wow.
But I'll tell you one thing:
Yes.
that was the most intense man that I have ever not met. I just saw him. I was
Wow.
just like, wow, this man really did his job. He didn't let us come near Louis Farrakhan,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just interesting to see. It was something I had never seen.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
I was young. We were young. We weren't grown, so that was a great memory. And the last thing that happened that night, Lynn Hayes Freeman, she was a newscaster
Yes.
for Channel 2 News.
Okay.
I saw her. I mean, she was hanging out with us.
Yes.
She wanted to get that interview, and I saw her negotiate with that man,
Yes.
Khalid Muhammad, who said no.
Wow.
And I saw Louis Farrakhan say yes, and she got the interview.
Wow.
And she conducted her interview in
Okay.
his suite. So it was just nice to see all of that happen.
Yes.
Great memory for me.
Awesome. And again, you gave great recall, so I want you to continue to share that story, right?
Awesome.
Yeah. Is there
Awesome.
another memory you would care to recall on the show right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
James Baldwin.
Okay. Yeah.
Love him to death.
Absolutely.
He
Absolutely.
was supposed to come, and he was supposed to talk about I forgot what our topic was,
Yes.
but James Baldwin, I guess he was like, I can wing it.
Mhm.
And he asked the driver what he was supposed to talk about, and the driver told him something totally different. So that was a really, really funny night. We were like, what is he talking about?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was great. I loved him. Picked him up from the airport. He was maybe I'm just a tall girl, but he was very small too.
Well,
There
Camille,
was another.
yeah. Speaking of girl and height wise, yeah, we about 5'8", 5'9".
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So most men, are going to be, small to you unless they started getting like 6 foot and 6'1" and taller.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But
Finally,
again, I mean, let me just share you about Tony Baldwin. I mean, the man is what can't you not say about this man? He is a walking, living genius, right? So to have him in your car, what was some of the conversations that you had with him while you were in the car? What was the small talk like?
you know what? There wasn't much small talk with James Baldwin because he had a little to drink.
Got you.
So, and he really didn't talk much.
Okay.
I was fond of his accent.
Yes.
It wasn't an American accent, even though he is American. I thought that was interesting.
Well, remember now, he spent quite a few years over in France.
Mm-hmm. He did.
Because at one point, I can't recall, that was the only place he found himself to be acceptable with his lifestyle and who he was as a person.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
That so and I can't recall, and I'm sorry I don't have my facts straight, but I think it might have been maybe 20 years he might have spent over in France.
Mm-hmm.
And so
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I think Americans who have foreign accents really intrigue me.
Yeah.
They do. So I found that very interesting.
But remember now, with his lifestyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, being a black man, being gay, with his lifestyle, that was like unheard of. You need to go somewhere else. But overseas, They welcomed that, and they are just beginning. I would say in the past, and I may be wrong, I would say in the past 5-10 years, are just beginning to accept people for having a different lifestyle other than what they think should be considered the norm, right?
Exactly.
And so you think about him coming along in the 60s and 70s, right? Like, oh, no, don't you dare have that kind of lifestyle around here.
Exactly.
Exactly. And then he spent a lot of time in Harlem. He spent a lot of time in Harlem. And I think that at one point, I don't know if they chased him out, but it just gave him a different view as to why he was not acceptable over here.
Yeah. I thought he was from Harlem.
Yeah,
Is he from Harlem?
I believe so. I've got to go into the memory banks, and I want to say that you might be right. But again, I'm thinking that there was a time where he just did not find acceptability, right?
Right.
And it says here he was born in Harlem. He was born in Harlem, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he died in France in 1987.
Wow. Well, that's where he was passionate. You're right.
Yeah.
He must have fallen in love with France.
Yeah. And then they accredit him with African American literature and gay literature.
Mm.
Yeah. So that whole piece of being a novelist or a playwright or a poet, that was good, and he was also an activist. So so this man had a lot on his plate, right?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. You know what? When he came to Pitt, his platform was pretty much his traditional writings.
Yeah.
We were talking about the gays.
But his thing was, and I don't know how strong it was, but it was gay and the bisexuality of black men.
Mm-hmm.
Like what? In the 60s and 70s? Oh no. You know what I'm saying? So I can see a lot of folks not being comfortable around him at that time. And so he had to go someplace where he was comfortable. So that was it. But I'm glad you had a chance to experience. And you know what's so funny? I didn't see you that often on campus, but I wish I would have seen you during this time. Oh my God, man! Can you imagine the conversation we would have had at that time in terms of debriefing? You know?
Exactly.
Wow. Now, were you doing journaling at that time where you would go home and write down your notes in a journal? I met James Baldwin. Did you do that?
I wish I would have.
Okay.
I really do.
Okay.
Those were times that I'm like, doggone it. If I could capture
Yes.
a lot of those moments,
Yes.
they would just be great
Yes.
memories. I'm very grateful that I can recall them, though.
Yes.
And I'm also great for this opportunity for you to help me just stamp it and put it somewhere. We're cataloging it.
Yeah. Now, Camille. Now, how many people know about your business? Do you speak to other women about your business entrepreneurially?
I don't.
Why not?
I don't. I haven't had the opportunity. I have been in developmental stage. I have been creating that I now am able to finally come out and do that. I do give away a large number of scholarships.
Okay.
A large number of scholarships. Every year I probably offer maybe 1,000 scholarships. So, but I'm finding that younger people don't really connect well with this profession.
Yes.
And people that are 35 and older do.
Yes.
So I'm giving away scholarships so that they can get their certification.
Yes.
And it's a phenomenal field.
Okay.
A wonderful career, and most important, a lot of our coders work from home.
Okay.
So it's in demand.
Now, could you go into the high schools to start recruiting?
I can. In fact, I used to be in a local high school in North Carolina.
Yes.
But the people who gravitated toward the profession were that 35 and older population.
What is the average salary that one could expect to earn after 2 years?
After 2 years, the average salary is $50,000. So you start at $50,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's not enough to attract other folk?
It is enough to attract. A lot of people are attracted to it.
Yes.
However, this course takes about 24 good weeks. Okay. And it's a grind, though.
Okay.
However, it's like riding a bike. It's hard at first.
Yes.
But if you keep going, you eventually, it happens. It's doable.
Yes.
It's not math.
Yes.
It just requires you to stay tuned, stay in tune. Don't, if you decide you want to do this, just, carve out the time and do it. And it's a great profession. In fact, the young lady who told me about medical coding, she was a six-figure coder.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so we're going to help you as much as possible, promote you on this platform. We're going to circle back around, and maybe one day we'll just do like a 15-minute Q&A via Zoom, and I'll invite some other folk that I think might be interested. And let's see if we can encourage other folks to not necessarily become entrepreneurs, although that's our goal, but certainly to see this as an opportunity. So I'm going to thank you, Camille, for being a part of the Entrepreneur Enclave this evening. But before we end, can you give us a contact as to how folks can contact you? Well, you know what? Let's take that back. Is there another memory that you want to share with us? Because that was cool. That was cool.
Oh, okay. The one that comes on top of my head.
Yes.
Ruby Lee, Ossie Davis, total opposite. Ruby, she talk.
Yes.
Oxy didn't say maybe 10 words.
Wow, but he loved his wife, though.
They're amazing. I love them.
Yes.
I love them.
Yes.
So that's my greatest memory. How they can reach me.
Yes.
You can reach me website www.amcicoding.com, and if you go to the website, there's a telephone number.
Yes.
Or that is the best way to reach me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Camille, in spite of the 35 years, it feels like that you and I have never missed a beat. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. You are phenomenal.
Listen, from your lips to God's ears. So once this episode drops, you've got to help me spread the word, because I'm looking to interview as many entrepreneurs as possible, right? But thank you. Thank you.
Sure, absolutely. You got it.
Camille, you are the best. Thank you. And we'll talk to you soon.
Take care now.
Okay, now. Bye-bye.
That concludes another episode of the Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. We hope you found this episode informative and enlightening. If you have any questions or comments about any of our episodes, please call 609-731-9311 or email kevin@minding-our-business.com. We look forward to joining us for our next one. Until next time.